What's up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome to another Review Point podcast coming to you from fanboysanonymous.com. I am your host, Tony Mango, and I'm going to be by myself for this edition because I decided to do it on the fly. And that's mostly because I just got done watching the Season 3 finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I had quite a bit on my mind. So I figured rather than just, sit there and dwell on my thoughts on my own, check out the subreddits and whatnot like that, I'd try to get my opinions out in podcast form and see what you guys think as well, give you my point of view of what happened over the past couple of episodes and so on and so forth, and just kind of, shoot the shit a little bit. I'm going to be treating this kind of as a recap and review, sort of, and talking about the hits and the misses that have gone down throughout the season. From what I can remember, I, didn't sit there and look through every episode again. I didn't binge watch all of them or whatever. This is all kind of just from what I can remember over the past 20-something episodes or so. It's been quite a bit, and, of course we've changed from, different storylines and all that other kind of stuff, so things might be lost in translation a little bit from what I can remember and what I can't, and if that's the case, and there's a particular thing that you wanted me to address that I didn't, then make sure you leave your comments below and ask me what that is, and I'll, try to throw out there whatever I'm thinking of. But before I get started, I want to remind everybody that with anything that we do here review-wise, there are going to be spoilers. So if you have not yet seen this season and you don't want to know what happens, bookmark this, binge-watch the whole 22 episodes, then come back a little bit later on and check it out. But if you don't care and, you're okay with being spoiled, then hey, how you doing? So why not just get started here with kind of like a character breakdown thing? We have an ensemble cast, and of course people are going to go in different directions and stuff, and you're going to have your favorites, you're going to have your least favorites and all that other kind of stuff. So I guess the best thing to talk about is the way that we sort of kicked this off, which was about Gemma being missing. And at the beginning of the show, season 1, I really hated Fitzsimmons. Like, I had no connection to these characters at all. I thought that it was a dumb concept, and I love my puns, but I also thought it was a little too hokey. Fitzsimmons, oh, they're in their Fitzsimmons, oh, that kind of thing was just sort of ridiculous and all that. But I've grown to really like them. And now seeing Fitz searching for Gemma when she's on that planet, the name of the planet escapes me. Or actually, did they even say the name of the planet? They might not have. Huh. I don't know. Good old desert planet from God knows where in outer space. Planet X, or whatever we're going to call it. That storyline was dragged out a little bit too much, kind of, for me at the beginning of this season. I wanted it to last at least a couple episodes because, if you just resolve it all in one, then it's going to be kind of pointless. And you don't want to have the tag of a season finale that's building up to something just kind of be crapped out immediately. So about like a 3 or 4 episode arc, seems kind of good or whatever, but it did seem like it dragged a little bit here and there. I don't have too many complaints in the grand scheme of things. They needed to go in certain directions, and then they did, and whatever, but having that character Will was a pretty serviceable character, and he had his moments with Simmons that were pretty nice, pretty interesting, whatever. I liked how they tied into the idea that Hive was sort of like, what's a good way to put it? Like they're like a cult, like demon worshipping kind of. There's different sects of them. Some of them are more on the science side. Some of them actually did follow Hitler back in the day. Some of them were talking about just the aliens that would come and save the planet by taking us over and all that other kind of stuff. I like having different subsections of S.H.I.E.L.D. and subsections of Hydra, and you don't have to always just make it like the good and the bad. It's the corrupt and the, misaligned and crazy ones, and then ones that aren't crazy. They just have different ideologies and stuff like that, so that's kind of cool. But having Will show up on that whole planet and doing a little bit of a backstory with that kind of thing was pretty good overall. Again, some slow moments and stuff. I know that it wasn't their intention, but what did bug me about the Will and Fitzsimmons dynamic was Fitz, for a little bit there, felt like a runners-up prize. And it's mostly just the execution of how they dealt with that, because they could have gone with her just like, Will sucks, and I'm so glad that Fitz is here, but you needed to kind of have some emotional impact for it and stuff. I doubt I could have done a better job, but that did bug me. In the end, we got the Fitzsimmons cohesion that we all wanted, and then that, of course, made me scared that they were going to break them up because, shows inevitably do that kind of stuff. But I like them as a team, and I like them as a couple, and I like them going into the next stage of their relationship. I want to see them succeed, and I'm confident that they won't give them too much tragedy, but we know something's going to happen next time around that's going to cause an issue, and I'm thinking we're going to have some kind of an issue with the whole registration thing or whatever. We'll get into that a little bit later because I do want to give my predictions of what's going on. But Fitzsimmons, as far as it goes for the season, Fitz searching for her, I like that. Gemma trying to be better off on her own and not so dependent upon other people, that was a good idea. And overall, thumbs up when it comes to that. Again, problems along the way, but I'm going to give it a hit. Now we got Melinda May and Lash, Melinda May and Andrew. But it was kind of obvious that he was going to be Lash, right? Like, they spent too much time building up his character for him not to be Lash. So, downside when it came to that, too obvious. But May and Lash, I think, was underwhelming. I'm going to have to give them a miss overall. May was kind of shitty this season. She didn't really do all that much. And she just sort of pined over Andrew. And I get it. Like, that was the love of her life and all this. But Andrew was sort of dragging his ass along in a lot of different ways too. And all of this just built up to him de-brainwashing Sky not Sky. Daisy. And May just sort of being like mopey about it or whatever. I don't know, really. I think actually my favorite part of the season when it came to May was her interactions with Hunter. And the idea that, like, she's the badass that kills a lot of people and stuff, but when he starts doing that, it kind of bugs her a little bit and whatever. I'd like to see May be more May. But you know what? I actually kind of was hoping that she would have died on this episode. That kind of sounds terrible, but out of all the people that could have bit the bullet, she was one that I was okay with if they would have killed her off. Maybe next time around, I don't know. Maybe they're going to keep her because she is one of the originals and they haven't killed off an original yet, except for, Brett Dalton. Maybe. Sort of. Kind of. Maybe. But Melinda May and Lash and all that, they sort of dropped the ball. That's a miss. Mac and Yo-Yo, we got another couple there. I first off, I didn't like the brother storyline with Mac. That's a different type of couple. I hope that they don't go down that route. I don't want to see any more about it, really, unless they change it up a whole lot. But I'm cool with the romance with Yo-Yo. She's not winning me over 100% yet, and there's still some issues to hammer out. But she's kind of cute with her interactions with Mac, and Mac's kind of cute with how he, pines for her a little bit and whatever. And he's got that axe shotgun, which is awesome. That dude's a badass. What a smooth operator, too. Like, Mac is a guy that I didn't really like a whole lot much at the beginning, too. I sort of preferred Trip, and I was kind of annoyed that they kept Mac and they killed Trip. But overall, I like Mac. Mac's actually one of my favorite characters now, so, I was wrong a little bit. Or they just changed his character enough and it ended up being good enough in the grand scheme of things. But I like Mac. I like Yo-Yo enough that I'm cool with seeing them stick around and, what happens next season. When it comes to Phil, who probably is my favorite character, I still want to see him in the MCU, though. Like, the proper MCU. He needs to come back to the movies, man. But as far as him being on the show, Rosalind Price and his connection with her, that was another good duo. I liked her a lot, and I was sad to see her go. She could have been a cool, like, secondary, sort of like Talbot and him, like the problems that they have and the friendship that builds a little bit. That was fun to watch. I see the value in killing her off more than keeping her around, though, so I can't really disagree with them on that. So I'm going to give Rosalind a hit, and I'm going to give Phil a hit, too, because Phil's awesome. The progression of the hand, having the Captain America shield, that's pretty damn sweet. Like, you got to love bringing up the not mechanical. Well, it is mechanical, but the holographic kind of shield. Nice little nod to the comics like that. Phil going through the idea that he was upset that he killed somebody I didn't love, because he's killed many people before, and that was sort of a cop-out. But I just like Phil Coulson, man. He's just cool. He's just funny and quirky enough without being obnoxious and all that, so the show lives and breathes with him, and it would die if they killed him off too. Guaranteed. We have another couple. I'm breaking this down by couple, aren't I? Yeah, seems like it is. But hey, it's a TV show. Sitcoms and these dramas and all that, they all revolve around relationships. And another one is Bobby and Hunter, who were two of the best parts of this season and last season too, and super fun to watch. And unfortunately, we got to see them go. And Marvel's Most Wanted is not going to be picked up. So the whole point of writing them out of the show to give them their own spinoff is now pointless. So I hope that they bring them back, and I'd be okay with them even bringing them back mid-season, waiting a little bit just to stew on it a little bit more. But if we're going to get what I think we're going to get, where the team is sort of split up, then maybe Bobby and Hunter are kind of on the bad side a little bit. I don't know. Again, I'll break into my predictions a little bit later on. I also kind of want Mockingbird to be more Mockingbird, but maybe that's a little bit too much to ask for. But so in the grand scheme of things, as long as they end up sticking around the Marvel family, then I'm probably going to be happy because I like them. So put them on Netflix, put them back into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., give them a spinoff. You know what? No, don't give them a spinoff. I don't want to see a spinoff now that I'm thinking about it. Don't give me fatigue for superheroes. I want as much content as I can possibly digest, but don't give me too much of the same thing. Give me different. Like, I'm really excited for Damage Control. That seems cool. But I don't like Agent Carter. Agent Carter was a good idea that got sloppy, and they dragged it out in a way that they didn't need to. And they kind of fucked up Madame Mask, too, so I'm a little bit pissed about that. But if you're going to give me another show, give me that Punisher show that they're talking about. Give me something more like, I don't know, something that's less Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Put everything you can into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Don't take anything out of it. You know what I mean? So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But I did like them on this season, and it was sad to see them go, so hopefully they do come back. I'm skipping around our protagonist here, aren't I? Daisy Johnson. Now, Daisy, they had this whole running gag of her not being Skye, and it didn't really have a payoff. I was hoping that there would be something where she was mind-controlled, where they would say, like, they would call her Skye, and she would address herself as Skye, and then they would know that she was kind of mind-controlled. But if you're going to introduce a character as Skye and then change it over to Daisy, you sort of need that transition a little bit. Now I'm used to calling her Daisy, so it's okay. She is so damn cute, by the way. Like, and she keeps looking better and better looking. I don't know what they're doing with Chloe Bennett, but man, like, they cut her hair off, and then it's like, oh, she looks better like that. And then at the end of the season, they show her, and she's all like emo, gothy kind of thing or whatever. And I usually hate that shit, but I'm like, damn, she looks good there. Just a side note. I like the ensemble better than I like her being the protagonist sometimes, and I get it, she's the main character, but I get a little tired of seeing her be the primary focus, where it's always whether or not she's going to turn on the team, whatever. So next season, I don't want to see it all revolve around her. You know, we've had 3 seasons now that are all about her, and I want something different. But it looks like we're going to get that anyway. I do like how that she's growing as an actress, Chloe Bennett, I mean, and the character is growing too. She's getting more and more engaging than I ever would have imagined, because if you would have pitched an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show to me and said that the protagonist was going to be Daisy Johnson from the comics, I would have been nervous as hell, and I would have thought it was a bad idea. Now, her sacrificial lamb of a boyfriend, Lincoln, easiest pill to swallow when it came to killing off a character. I was totally cool with him dying. He was fine, but he existed to die this season, basically. You know what I mean? So he was cool for a little bit here and there, and then he, reached a point where he had nowhere else to go. He needed to get killed off, and I'm glad that he got killed off. We didn't need his extra moodiness, and I don't know what they would have done next season. That moves a little bit more room for somebody else to come in, and hopefully that's not Joey, because, he was pointless and just sort of like melded a couple things and then left. Give me a character that's like good, the Joey character sucked. Lincoln had his moments, but I want something cooler this time. And you know what? I actually want Clay Quartermain. Bring him in. make him a love interest or something if you need to make him a love interest. But yeah, I mean, Daisy, she's doing better and better, and they got out of the hacker thing, and they're making her more of a superhero, which is cool. I like superheroes, and now we're gonna deal with Quake and doing all that stuff. So overall, I'm gonna give her a hit too. And I didn't say it, but Bobby and Hunter, they get a hit. Marvel's Most Wanted gets a miss because apparently it wasn't good enough. And now we got Hive. Talk about Hive a little bit. I don't like that this is the Inhumans show. Secret Warriors is okay, but Inhumans was like, what's the point of doing the movie if we've got 2 whole seasons that are dealing with Inhumans? And I liked the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit better in some ways because it was just a spy show. And I hope that they get back into that a little bit. But we've got Grant Ward. Man, I'm going to miss Brett Dalton if they killed him off because he was so cool. He's one of my favorite characters of the whole show. Kind of wanted him to be redeemed, and maybe I can buy into him being redeemed at the end there, but I don't know. I mean, I sort of wanted him to still be a good guy. And I want Hellfire to be a good guy too, because wasn't he a good guy in the comics? I think he was. If memory serves, Hellfire was on Daisy's side, so maybe he'll team up with her. I don't know. I really liked having Malik be one of the villains. His daughter was hot, and I'll give them credit for not going with the obvious by having her take over and be the villain for that half of the season or whatever. It was a great way to tie into the Avengers and the Winter Soldier by having, somebody on the World Council be somebody who is so damn corrupt and all that. So Malik, real good as far as having some kind of a villain. Big thumbs up for that. Hive in general, thumbs up. I mean, he gave us the guy from Iron Chef as a villain. That's insane. I gotta give a thumbs up to that. But Hive as an inspiration for the devil, that was kind of cool. I liked the idea that he could control people. That was interesting. I liked the look of Hive at the end there, which was a little cheap, but it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They have cheap effects all the time. They can't get these planes right for some reason. I don't know why. So, it was something different. And that's cool, and I like the idea that we're going to go in a different direction next season too, because I don't want it to just be about Inhumans, and now we've done the space thing, and we've done the mind control thing, and we've done the predestination, and all that other kind of stuff, so this was a fitting end, and it ends with space. And I kind of would be okay if we don't see the Inhuman stuff come into play at all next season. But a couple other things I wanted to talk about. No Deathlock. That was kind of a shame. A little Captain America moment there at the end of this season with Lincoln and Daisy and the whole communications breakup and all that. That was a nice little touch. And I think I might as well just talk about my overall, if it was a hit or miss, and then my predictions. So this season, I'm going to give a hit to. There were problems, as any show would have any problems, but I think that this show has figured out what it wants to be, and that's very important because a show like Arrow, it waited so long that it turned into a shipper show, and this show is more about, let's try to do some cool, weird shit with the extra stuff with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's how you can incorporate cool shit into a show, not just let's make it all CW romance. Felicity's garbage. I don't watch this show anymore. The people that gave up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's kind of a shame because it's getting better. So, hit for season 3. And as far as season 4 comes along, we've got some teases here already. We got a life model decoy, which we already had some teases before in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so I'm not sure how they're going to tie that in. But the good side to this is that they have an out in case they ever want to bring somebody back. But the bad side is we're going to have a lot of fake out deaths, and that's going to be drastic. I'm not looking forward to all the, oh my god, they killed them off. Wait, no, it was a life model decoy. Don't do that, don't go crazy with it. 1 or 2 times in the next season is going to pay off a lot more than 10. We're going to probably get fake Quake. Doppelganger situations are going to happen, and now, since we've had the whole mind control thing and all that, it gets really tiresome to see a show where it's always about whether or not you can trust your teammates that you can ostensibly trust for sure. So I hope they don't go down that route. I don't want to see it all about fake Quake did this, and can we trust, is that the real Daisy, and is that the fake one, and all that? Do it a little bit, because you gotta do it a little bit. But don't make it the whole damn time, because then by the time we get to the ability to do the secret war and the secret invasion and all that other kind of stuff, then I'm not going to want to see it anymore. So just err on the side of caution, and it'll be so much better in the long run. Another one I don't want to see too, and I see this coming too, if we have like the doppelgangers and we also have the whole Sokovia Accords, we're going to get people split up. I think Bobby and Hunter are going to be on the bad side, whatever, the quote-unquote bad side, like the Tony Stark side of things. Fitz and Simmons are probably going to split up, because people like to do that on TV shows. I think May and Coulson are going to be on opposite sides. Coulson's going to be on Team Cap. May is going to be on Team Iron Man. You see a running theme here. You're going to take everybody who has a connection, and you're going to split them from them. So if we do that, we're going to have a lot of infighting, which probably means we're going to have a weak villain. And I don't know who the villain's going to be, because it's not going to be Grant Ward this time around. Although I'd be cool with him coming back. Like I'm totally cool with Grant Ward coming back all the time. We have this Ada, which I looked into a tiny bit now. I'm recording this literally. I started recording this like right after I got done watching it. So, I'm sure other people are going to be able to tell me a lot more information. But Ada is the artificial intelligence data analyzer created by Thomas Thompson of the Squadron Supreme, which I don't know shit about, really. It looks like it's some kind of alternate Earth thing where Hyperion's involved, and his backstory, by the way, is like as tough to follow as can possibly be, because he's got like 100 different versions. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Whizzer is involved, and I think that he was like a Captain America ally, or at least he was for the Spider-Man animated series. He was like this lame yellow dude that could kind of run fast like the Flash, but nowhere near as good as the Flash, because Flash is like a fucking god. This was just like some dork, But I think that we're going to get them tied into him, because nobody's going to make a movie out of them. But you can make them a season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So Squadron Supreme is probably going to be the bad guys. Or, you know what, they'll probably be like the ACTU, I think they were called, where they're kind of like the bad guys for the first half of the season until the other bad guy rears his ugly head, and then they kind of team up together and all that. Because they are heroes, I think, right? And as far as who the next director of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, Talbot makes sense. Maria Hill working under Tony Stark makes a lot of sense. But it's probably going to be a brand new character, and I would assume it might be that Thomas Thompson guy. I'm curious what you guys have to think, though. What's going to happen in Season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? What did you think of Season 3? Are you still watching the show, or did it just not do it for you? Are you still watching Arrow, for that matter? I fucking gave up on that. But what's your favorite TV show that's going down with the superhero world right now? Is it just the Netflix stuff, because that's killing it with Daredevil and whatnot? Or are you more on The Flash? Did you actually watch Supergirl? Because I only watched one episode. But now we're going to get that going over to CW. I don't know why I'm talking about DC on a Marvel thing, but why not? So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3. Let me know in the comments below if you think it was a hit or a miss. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up, because why not? I'd appreciate it. And stay tuned for everything else coming your way from fanboysanonymous.com, because I'm going to be having a couple of more things to review and a couple other surprises throughout the next couple of weeks and such. So, at least for now, it's time for me to geek out. I will see you next time, everybody. Adios.